Who's he going to be playing against, Sean?
Root Gaming's Destiny will be playing against ROOTDestiny. I don't see any reason to delay. You ready to jump into this bad boy?
Let's just jump straight into it.
That is right. Welcome. We are now going into Icy Cup Test Bug. This is game one between Destiny, who is in the top position as the blue Zerg, and in the right position we have LGReSpOnSe. He once upon a time was ROOTDestiny, but he's recently apparently joined Lazarus Gaming, so we'll be representing in the festive purple shirts that they do wear.
That's very true. I actually own one of those. So what do you think about Test Bug? You know, I talked to a lot of Protoss players who said this map was heavily favoring the Zerg because of the fact that force fields really only one force field will not block the ramp. It's going to take multiple ones to actually do things out here near your expansion. And also the fact that that center is so open that the Zerg army could just get a nice surround on that Protoss death ball. So how do you think this is going to play out in this matchup?
Well, I mean, just like you said, it's aside from those mid-game attacks that are extremely difficult for Protoss to deal with, because just like you said, you know, there's this huge space. It's also the third bases are very, very vulnerable as a result. So any huge Zerg death ball is very, very, very prone to just cut that army in half.
Now, let's take a look at some of the map features here, because I actually have not casted on Test Bug. If you look in the middle of the map, there are 4 Xel'Naga watchtowers. 3 of them are hidden or have to be accessed by taking out the destructible rocks right there. We've also got the gold mineral expansions in the center, and those are also blocked by destructible rocks, but you can place something right there and then, of course, mine the minerals after you take out the rocks.
And it looks like we do see Destiny saving up, hasn't thrown down a spawning pool yet. Looks like he will be going for a pretty early, probably expand hatchery at his natural. Doesn't look like he has done anything too noteworthy as of yet. Is scouting with a pretty early drone, which is a little bit surprising, just because you generally want to keep that drone back just a little longer to be able to take that hatch. But we do see ROOTDestiny taking the gateway at his ramp, getting his gas down, so nothing too out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it looks like the hatch has been dropped for Destiny over at his natural expansion. And looking back over at the main, let's see if he's actually dropped the pool or preparing to. There goes the pool. And Sean, what do you think he's really going to transition to from that?
Well, I mean, just any sort of real roach opening and, ooh, taking the gas. That means that there's definitely going to be absolutely no standard 3-sentry expand style. Looks like he's going to be putting his cybernetics core down. This does limit his options a little bit, but he will be able to still do some sort of relatively reasonable pressure. But this is kind of atypical, I think. A lot of Protoss aren't used to dealing with this nowadays.
Yeah, now you said it limits him a little bit. What is it actually going to limit him from doing? Of course, that 3-gate sentry like you were just talking about, but how is that going to play out as the match progresses forward?
Well, it definitely means that the expansion is going to be a little tougher to defend because, you know, it's so easy to have a attacking unit like 1 Zealot plus 9 sentries, and then you're completely defended no matter what happens. But in this circumstance, it means that is going to have more of those base units, and that is really painful because anytime you're making Zealots and Stalkers instead of sentries, you can't afford buildings like gateways or even the Nexus quite so early.
Looks like that extractor will soon fall. Now, he has been using 3 probes to actually attack it. Is that going to affect his economy at all, or is it simply just going to be okay?
You know, I don't actually know too much about this situation because it's just so uncommon for Protosses to deal with this. Pulling this many probes off that early shouldn't be the biggest deal on his economy because, I mean, if you think about it, these probes were supposed to be mining gas anyways, so just kind of swapping out their duties.
Now, one of the big talks about this matchup is, of course, patch 1.3 and the fact that the change to the Infestor will hopefully one day affect this matchup. Because we haven't seen any Infestors yet so far in this tournament. But Destiny's actually a pretty big player online that streams a lot and also always using the Infestors when he streams. Do you think we're going to see something like that today?
I would love to. Like, seriously, only Infestor is the coolest way to play all the matchups nowadays because of the fact that you can get those fungal growths to lock down so fast. And it looks like we'll be able to sneak away into the corner. Now, if this were in control, he would build a pylon right there, now.
Right there, yeah. Pretty much. You saw that last game, or last night rather, against TLO. If you hadn't checked out that replay, wow, that probe is going to make it out and maybe get back to the Protoss' home base. And if we go back over, it looks like he is going to actually go ahead and continue probably with this 3-gate expand as he has secured that second gas, and he's going to be moving down to his ramp, probably throwing down a pylon there at the bottom of it and then taking his expansion.
LGReSpOnSe doing the classic technique to just close your eyes and pretend your gas was not taken. Just going to go ahead and expand anyways. There's the 3-gate going down right now, but notice that he can only get 3 sentries out. Is just broke on the gas. going to be a lot harder to be able to get that sentry count high. And pretty much every Zerg player knows all I got to do to really mess Protoss up early is cut back on his sentries. Some players try to dart up and do it with Zerglings, but Destiny just does it by taking an early gas.
Hallucination about to finish, and that's really becoming very common with this 3-gate sentry opener from a lot of Protosses. Using the Phoenix to scout is just so valuable, and it really does not cost that much resources to actually go ahead and do that.
Yeah, and there's the Phoenixes popping out right now. Response going to get a good little look about the map. 2 little Zerglings on their side of the rocks. This is the no Zerg allowed half. They can't even sit there for lunch.
Uh-oh, well, they're in there.
Oh, getting a little a little over-eager, but of course the bully LGReSpOnSe shoots him in the face with a photon blaster, so he's going to end up returning home a little bit frowny.
Now let's go back into the main of Destiny and see exactly what he's working with. He does have a Roachhorn up, still on 1 gas it looks like. Don't think he's taken any at his natural. So pretty standard stuff. I mean, in ZVP before the patch, it was pretty much Roach into eventually Hydras and then adding in a couple of Corruptors as soon as the Protoss does get that Death Ball. But it looks like Response is actually going to move out and maybe force a little bit of aggressive play here onto Destiny.
And it looks like Destiny trying to advance up, pick off the destructible rocks, protecting that watchtower, but Response going to move out a little early, and Destiny now taking 3 geysers at once. That means he really is not going to have that many units to reinforce, but still, with that many roaches out right now, 11, it's going to be pretty hard for Response to be able to push. 2 geysers going down for Response, again, pretty early, as he is going for a robo facility. At this point in the game, generally Protoss can either get more gateways, more unit-producing structures, or these 2 gas geysers up. Pretty hard to do both, so we're seeing Response do a little bit more of a passive, long-term focused play instead of some early aggression. And I think that's the smart play. You don't want to get too fancy if you have a hard time taking a 3rd base. You want to do a lot with the 2 bases you get. Yeah,
I love to see the fact that the Protosses are becoming more and more better at just feigning pressure. They go out, kind of force the Zerg to actually make units instead of just constantly droning, and that way they can actually kind of stay on par with them when it comes to their economy.
Does look like we are seeing Burrow come down right now for Destiny. This is a pretty defensive play. I mean, if you go for the tunneling claws, you're definitely going to be doing a little bit of pressure on the Protoss, or you're really scared about his force field count. But at this point, this is Destiny's way of saying that he's trying to get that Burrow to be able to defend against some sort of 5 or 6 gate pressure. But unfortunately for him, we see LGReSpOnSe going for that Observer right away and not doing anything else with it. Looking around the base, there's no other indicator. Oh, there's finally the robotics bay going down, but Response is not going to have the biggest army going into the mid game.
Destiny ramping up to take his 3rd as the hatchery has been down for just a little while, and this is pretty much turning out to be your bread and butter ZVP. All the right units are coming into play, Roach, Hydra, and eventually Corruptor for Destiny. And once those Colossus come out, looks like these Roaches might catch a great angle on the Protoss army.
Looks like he's going to get a couple of free units and trying to advance forward, but again, the rocks going to be, a good place to just can prevent the Zerg from darting through. 1 Zealot strays too far to the left, and it will get possibly taken out. There it gets taken out, but now Destiny advancing forward. This is a little bit too bold, I think. Getting cut in some great force fields. Looks like Destiny trying to do some burrow-unburrow micro, but with this 1 Observer here, it's going to be quite difficult. More Zealots getting warped in, and Destiny, oh no, losing a ton of Roaches, and now trying to pull back with speed. He will be able to retreat, but that was a pretty big win for Response.
Yeah, Response's army position right there was actually great. He had the sentries as far back as possible at the max range. That way the Roaches could not actually take them out and would just allow him to continue building up the energy on those, as well as throwing down force fields constantly on the Roaches to make sure they could not retreat back. Looks like the 3rd is fully up and operational. He's going to want to eventually connect that with the creep tumors.
Do see a whole bunch of Roaches hanging out by the Xel'Naga watchtower. Notice how easy this makes ROOTDestiny's coverage. He just has the center and his nearby watchtower, and there's very little that the Protoss can do. And especially, I mean, where do you expand as Response? It's so hard to choose. I mean, if you try to go for this 3rd, you have this giant